So hello, I'm going to talk about Guatemala, which is one of the biggest countries in Central America. Share a lot of similarities with Mexico and with the rest of Central America, and also Latin America. I'm going to talk about location, the values, the factor endowment, institution, and last but not least, the international aid. So Guatemala is located in Central America, is one of the biggest countries there, as I mentioned it before, and it's well connected with Mexico, with Honduras, with El Salvador, and it's also in a privileged position because it shares the Pacific coast. So it offers, the access to trade routes, either through the Caribbean coast that connects the Atlantic Ocean or directly to the Pacific Ocean. Of course, that the highlands dominance of the central part of the country, provide a volcanic soil, which is very good for agriculture. And on the con side, suffer a lot from natural disasters such as earthquake, volcanic eruption, because Guatemala is a volcanic country. So of course that they have these kind of challenges. In terms of values, they have the same kind of similarities to other countries, like Mexico. There are a lot of Mayan heritage, which is an ancient indigenous population. So they share another kind of languages. When the Spanish civilization came and colonized, Guatemala, of course there were a lot of cultural and social notes that were kind of different, leading to a lot of social tensions and social inequalities, because the wealth gap between the indigenous population and the mestizos that were the mix between the Spanish and the local ones, and that remains a challenge, which is as of today. And mainly because I would say that perhaps less than 10 families dominate, all the country through the private sector. In terms of factor endowment, as I mentioned before, due to the volcanic activity, it's rich in natural resources, not only in terms of agriculture, but also mineral deposits such as gold, copper, and other minerals. So agriculture is the main activity, such as bananas, such as coffee, sugar. The sugar industry is quite big. It's one of the biggest in the region, led by the Grupo Pantaleon, which is one of the biggest ones. Natural resources I already mentioned, and the human capital. The population is quite young. Of course, that the terms of illiteracy is quite high in the country. Above perhaps 40% of the population cannot access to formal education, which is quite a big challenge. And also the healthcare is limited because of the institutions. So in order to deep dive into that, Guatemala is, I could say that, quite a conflict country. So the civil war happened just a couple of years ago. I could say less than perhaps 60, 50 years ago. It happened, the civil war, leading to, of course, that a lot of challenges in terms of rebuilding the political institutions, perhaps affecting everyone, to access to justice and public spending. And in terms of the indigenous rights, of course, it was the most unequal, And international aid, I could say that has played quite a good thing in terms of the development of the country. However, it is not really easy to accurately measure them. But the World Bank Group has invested the most in Guatemala versus other Central America's countries, nearly 3 billion, during since 1960, which is quite impressive. And of course, there are a lot of challenges in terms of corruption, the security issues that the country has, and also the inequalities that I already mentioned before. So the conclusion could be, that the roles of the international aid has led to a lot of development in terms not only of economic, but also the institution that has led to the country where it is, one of the most developed in Central America. But also there are more challenges in terms of corruption and inequality that need to be addressed.